Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me, Russell Reynolds. And I'm Gina Diez Barroso. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first company when I was I started in Televisa, actually, at my corporate first job. And when I was 26, I founded my first company, Grupo Diez, or Diez Group, which was real estate developing. And after several years, it was pretty successful. I built several real estate, residential and corporate. But then, when I was 43, 44, I was not very satisfied with the legacy I was living in my country. And I was very fond of education. So I decided that I was going to leave my time and money in existing education project. And the more I saw, the less I wanted. So I decided that I was going to create my own university with everything that I thought was needed. I'm a creative person. I studied design. So I was very frustrated with how creativity was being taught, not only in Mexico, actually in the world. They were still dividing the left to the right side of the brain, which I thought was really ridiculous because people had one brain. And, if you were a creative person, you needed to know finance, you needed to know how to start a business, you needed to know how to read a financial statement, and at the end, how to ask for money or funds. So I started to create my university, which was a little bit, very, you can imagine how difficult it was because I'm not an academic. I had never done anything like that. It took me a few years of research and development, but at the end I did. And after that, I've always been very concerned about the disparity between women and men and diversity. So in 1990, I founded my first foundation against domestic violence. But I've always been part of different groups of women. I've been 19 years, close to 20, part of a group called Committee of 200 Women Business Leaders of the World. The only Latin American women part of this group. And the more I went to talk to women in different universities, which we do in this group, to talk to MBA women, PhD women, I found that they were not lacking academic skills. They were lacking actually the soft skills needed to succeed in life. So that's when I decided to do another education project that you will hear from that in the future. So that's where I am now. I'm a company builder. I make companies grow. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I love to see a new world where we're no different women, men, diversity. We shouldn't be talking about this in the future. That's my dream and that's my goal.
Thank you, Gina. And I think your story is truly inspiring, not only for women, but also men. And I'd really like to go ahead and ask specific questions. As a consultant service for the financial services in LATAM, my role is not only to promote this inclusion amongst women, but also to inspire them. And I think you're a key person to speak to in these terms. So I'd really like to ask what your greatest challenge you faced when breaking the glass ceiling as a woman leader in Latin America.
When they asked me, because my first business was actually construction, and a lot of people asked me if it was complicated for me to go into an all males industry, but actually I think it wasn't that difficult. One of the things that I think you have to do is, I never questioned myself whether I was a man or a woman. I just needed to do my work. And one of the things that we all need to take advantage of is, if you're the only woman in the room, take advantage of that. Don't feel less, feel more. Because, we as women have advantages that men don't. And it's not that we're better or worse, we're just different. And I do think that for me, every time I had to do something that no other women had done, I think it was challenging, but in the positive way. I never felt that my gender was an obstacle. I felt that my gender was an opportunity.
I completely agree with you, Gina. And tell me, what specific action have your organizations taken in order to develop and promote more leadership roles in Mexico?
Well, I think that one of the things that they should be doing, because they're not actually doing it, I think what they should be doing is first, obviously, put more women in the pipeline. I think that's extremely important. We have to put more women on the pipeline. And also organizations need to realize that this is not a good thing to do. This is a smart thing to do. Besides being the proper thing to do, because I mean, we are humans. We all need the same opportunity, regardless of the gender, regardless of the sexual preference, regardless of the race, regardless of the religion beliefs. I mean, we are all humans. We all need to have the same opportunity. But regardless of that, just as a CEO, which I am a CEO, but you know, you have to make more money for the stakeholders and for the stockholders. So the thing is that it is proven by all of the top 4 or 5 companies in the world that you know that have the studies to prove it, that diversity make more profits. So now, you know, we have to change the way we talk about it. You know, we cannot talk about let's give women a chance. We have to talk about let's give your company a chance to make more money. Let's give your company a chance to be more profitable. And let's your company have a chance to have a better reputation. Because now if you don't have women on the leadership positions, I mean, your reputation is going to be on the floor. Nobody wants to work for you. And you as Rosa Reynolds know perfectly well that the young generation rather sacrifice salary for a company that has a good gender and diversity policy. Right. They don't want to work for a company with no reputation on that.
What specific actions are you taking, Gina, in all the companies or universities that you're leading in order to promote greater inclusion apart from the pipeline? Well,
in my case, I mean, I literally 3.5 years ago, I decided to start a new education project, a new lifelong education project, global education project for women, to give them the proper skills to succeed in their personal and professional life. And as I told you, when in my experience of going to different universities, and I'm talking about going to MIT, Harvard, Yale, Stanford. I mean, I wasn't going to little university. I was going to top of the line universities. And the more I went, the more I realized that I was giving a recipe where no ingredients were to be found. So it doesn't matter if you go to 3 or 4 master's degrees, 3 or 4 PhDs. No university teaches you the soft skills that now Dalia doesn't name it as soft skills. Dalia renamed these soft skills as life skills. And actually LinkedIn published not too long ago the 15 new skills to succeed in the new reality that is coming and actually here. And from those 15, 11 were life skills. So I created Dalia Empower, which is this lifelong global project, online and offline, to give all women in the world the chance to train themselves in these skills that literally will make them find their own power. I don't believe in empower anybody. You know, one of the things that really I dislike is when people tell me, you know, I need to get empowered or please empower me. You know, if somebody empowers you, this person has the power to disempower you. So I believe that men and women, boys and girls, babies, you know, female and male, they have the same power within themselves. The problem with especially Latin women, the Latin girls, is that culture and education takes a big role in what is going to happen with you in the future. You know, from the time we take that little girl out of the hospital and that little boy, we buy the little tea set, you know, the apron, the Barbie doll, and what do we buy to the boy? You know, and this is for all parents listening, you know, we buy to the boy, you know, the astronaut suit, the Lego, you know, the chemistry, the robotics, and then the, you know, the crown of the king. So, you know, this is culture and education. The power in the girl, as in the boy, is there, is within them. So we have to help the girls find their own power, make them their own, and nobody in the world is going to take that power away from them. And that power doesn't mean that they're going to dominate anybody. That power, at least in Dalia, what we do is that power is for 3 reasons. We divide that power into 3 sets. One is the power to decide whatever you want to do in life, whatever you want to do in life. You want to be a CEO, a CFO, a housewife, or an astronaut, is your decision, nobody else's decision. Second power is to impact the people around you in a positive way. And third is to leave a legacy in whatever you do in life. So that is what you want the power for. That's all you need, literally. And I'm sure it happens to you now at Rosa Reynolds, that because, I mean, when you're putting a search, all of the people you're searching, if you're searching for a woman, all of the people you're searching have the same qualifications as far as CVs. I mean, you're not putting somebody that came out of nowhere. I mean, you're putting the same qualification. What will make the difference the life skills that this person has when she sits on the board or when she sits on a leadership position. For example, what am I talking about? Negotiation skills, creative thinking. If there's a conflict, how is she going to handle that conflict? Leadership, how is she going to make a team work as a team builder? How is she a team builder? Nobody's going to teach her that in a university.
What would you say is your legacy, Gina? Because I really wanted to ask you about advice, but you already gave a very useful information regarding advice to next gen. But I'd really like you to go deeper about in legacy, and I'd like to ask what yours is.
Of course, I had the chance in these groups that I'm part of to go further on finding a purpose. A lot of people are frustrated because what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I'm 30 years old. It's funny because I was reading the other day a book, and I was reading a study published by CNN, and only 40% of the population in the world think they have a purpose. From that 40, maybe 30% have a purpose. The rest, they just don't have a purpose. They never find a purpose in their life. It's not that easy to find a real purpose. I mean, they can have a passion, which is another thing, but a real purpose is not that easy. Well, I was happy enough I took a course that was given by Simon Sinek, which I think is the most amazing person. And I was able to find my purpose. And that purpose usually doesn't come from the future or the present, it comes from the past. So you have to sort of make a recollection of your life, and something is going to click, and something is going to say, yeah, so now I'm doing this because of that. So what happened to me, and that's my legacy and my purpose. I married the first time very young. My father died when I was 11. So I'll tell you about my role models and things like that a little bit later. But I didn't have a chance to study really master or PhD or whatever I wanted to study. I was a person that was actually self-trained. So my purpose became education. And my purpose and my legacy became giving the proper tools of education to as many women as possible because I didn't have it.
Right.
My mother became widow at 38 with 5 children. So for her, it was survival mode. So she wasn't really on top of us to helping us being educated academically. We were educated in life. So I wanted to give all women possible the tools to be educated as much as they could. So that's my legacy and that's my purpose.
And Gina, one last question before I actually go ahead and ask you about the specific things that women should do in order to reach you or to access to all these amazing information and courses and empowerment thing that you have for them. Is what specific advice would you give to us search firms, specifically us who are leading the women inclusion in all the C-suite positions and boards in Mexico and LATAM?
Well, one of the things is if you're leading an organization like you are, I think we have to speak up. We have to anything that is not measured cannot be corrected. That's so I think we have to expose what the companies that are not doing anything. For example, I was talking to the Bloomberg company. They have an amazing index. But the problem with the Bloomberg index is that you have to have revenues of close to $1 billion or more than $1 billion. So companies in Mexico not necessarily have that revenues, unfortunately. But what we created at Dalia, we created an index, gender and diversity index, for any size of a company. You could be a small, medium, big company, and you still can be measured. Because you would be surprised, and I'm talking about Mexico, but this is LATAM. This is all across LATAM.
Right.
You would be surprised how many companies don't even have a gender or diversity policy. And they say they do, but they don't. And then they tell you that they have 20% women. And when you ask them in what positions, literally it's in entry-level basic positions. The minute they go to middle management, they have nobody, or they have 5%. So if they don't get measured, they don't even know what they have. And they don't even know what they can do to get better.
Right.
So I do think that as leaders, we should tell them that they should be measured. And if they don't want to be measured, we should exhibit these companies. I do think that it's time to exhibit the good companies and the bad companies and the ugly companies. We have to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the more we measure, the more we can change.
Thank you, Gina. I think I'm going to ask my last question, and this is something that, what specific piece of advice would you give women in order to believe in themselves and achieve high things?
Well, first of all, I think one of the most important things is forget about guilt. We stereotypes, get rid of stereotypes. I do think, and I give a talk on this very often, that women, we are born with so many stereotypes. And when you ask me which kind of stereotypes, well, for example, if you are, let's say, 28, 30, you have not gotten married or have somebody, they start trying to introduce you to 150 friends. You might not want to have a partner. I always say that we don't need husbands or wives. We need partners in life, men and women. We do need partners in life. And some people want to have a partner in life, some don't. So let's respect the decisions of whoever don't want to have a partner in life. Some people want to have children, some don't. So if somebody's 38 years old and doesn't have a child, don't start giving them fertility cards of different doctors that can help you get pregnant. I mean, so many people don't want to get pregnant. So, but we are growing with all of these stereotypes of what women's supposed to do at certain ages. And then if we work hard, then it comes the guilt stereotype. Right. I am abandoning my children. No, you're not. You are teaching your children what to expect from life. If you have a little boy, he will look for a woman that is a professional, self-made partner in life woman, like the mother is. If you have a girl, the same. She's going to look for a man that can help her be a professional person and a partner in life. So, you are teaching every time you go to work. You are not abandoning the family. So I do think that we have to literally get rid of all of this and then train yourself with the life skills necessary for what? When you are, for example, you as a search person, you are looking for a woman, for a person, let's say that you're looking for a woman, but now everybody's looking for women because they need to have women in all these positions. So they're looking for a woman and they have 10 requirements. And a woman has 5 of those 10 or 6 or 7, she will not go for it. She will not go for it because there are these 3 things that she cannot do. Instead of raising her hand and say, I will learn these things.
Right.
I will learn these things and I will go for them. So I do think that we have to take these chances, raise our hands and say, I can do it. And then also not say when you go to any kind of position, not say my work will do the talking. No, the work will not do the talking. We have to do the talking. And nobody will value our work but ourselves. So if we don't do the talking with our bosses, our superiors to say what we did, we're never going to get a raise or a promotion. And that's all soft skills, to me, that's skills for life.
Right. Is Dalia helping with those soft skills? Can you share more about what Dalia is doing in specific? Because I think that's a very powerful resource for women.
Of course, yes. Dalia has 85 courses developed, and it's not only courses like any other edtech company. We develop like lifelong courses, which it took us like 2 years to develop with pedagogues, psychologists, psychiatrists, academics, something that really changes from inside out. For example, one of our programs is called DNA. And when they were asking us why DNA, because a woman comes in and another woman comes out. She really finds their inner power, regardless of whatever she does in life. We're not going to teach you to be a better C-suite person or a better teacher or a better entrepreneur. We're going to teach you to be a better woman, a better person. So that's one course. We also have courses for entrepreneurs. We have a scale-up program for entrepreneurs that want to get funded by VCs. We have a Women for Boards course to prepare women to enter board positions. And then we also have, for example, short courses from leadership, creative thinking, team building, personal branding. For personal branding, they just don't do personal branding. When you ask them, who are you? They tell you, I am the CFO. I didn't ask you what position you are. Who are you? Tell me, who are you? And then when they try to for example, to give a CV or a bio for a board, they put up like what they study. They don't want to know what you study. They want to know what are you good for? So all of these things, we teach them. We do professional networking. Women tend to not know how to do professional network. So we teach them how to do professional network, how to really talk to men and women. We teach also men in companies. We have something called Dalia and companies, where we go to companies to teach men and women, or I mean, from 20 people to 1,000 people. And we teach how men and women can work together, how men can be mentors of women, how women can be mentors of men, how they can work in their organizations to be better working together. So it's amazing, the new masculinities, for example. The man of today is completely different than the man 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 5 years ago. So it really changes the dynamic of any company. So we're very strong on companies also.
Gina, thank you for sharing these inspiring words and also your legacy, which I believe is much more extensive than what you've said. These are really resourceful tools that we'll be happy to share with our prospects, candidates, and clients as well. I think the outreach should be, the outreach is amazing. And I want to congratulate you for what you've done in your personal life and what you've done in order to inspire not only women, but men as well in Mexico and Latin America. I think that your work will transcend generations, and you're actually few of the firms that we know that are actually taking this into a consideration. And it might have been you made it sound super easy, and I'm pretty sure that there were some really challenges during your lifetime and career building. And I hope we can get to talk in a more broader perspective and actually have a broader conversation with you, because I think your experience is enlightening not only to professionals, but also, as you explained, children. Because if you start at very, very early stages in your life, then you can actually find this empowerment and break these stereotypes, which are completely defying our women today, our professional women today. I don't know if there's anything relevant, Gina, that I have not asked. I hope these words can be transmitted everywhere.
No, I do. Let me tell you something else. One of the things that women need to know is that work-life balance doesn't exist. I mean, that's important, because they always ask me, how do you balance your life? I don't. I mean, life balance, work-life balance doesn't exist. Harmony exists.
Okay.
And, sometimes, as professional women, they obviously, they demand you 100% of your time, like if you don't have a family. And then in the family, they demand you 100% of your time, like if you don't have work. So the problem is not what they demand, it's what we accept. So one of the things that we have to do is understand that you're going to fail sometimes in work, and you're going to fail sometimes in the family. But that's okay. I mean, it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to sometimes fail at family, and they understand. And it's sometimes to tell your boss, listen, my child has a problem. Sorry, I have to run. He just fell from the stairs or whatever, or he needs me in this and that. So I think it's important to understand that perfect balance does not exist. So, the minute you understand that, you don't feel that you're missing here or missing there. It's important to understand that, and to partner with your partner in life if you do have one, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
I think that's the most beautiful advice I've heard. And before being women or professionals, we're human. So that's super useful to hear as well, Gina.
Yes, and honestly, get involved with Dalia. We have an app, and we build community. We think that community in Latam, it is important, because we sometimes, let's say that I have a business in tech, and I want to see what's happening in tech in Colombia or in Brazil or in Chile or in Israel, and I want to find women in tech. So we have the app to obviously encourage women to be together. It's like a LinkedIn for women. And the page, you have the page, is daliaempowered.com. And I would love to have everybody there.
Thank you for the kind words, for opening so good with us and connecting in this way. I'm pretty sure these words will transcend and will get to many men and women who will benefit from your super legacy, Gina.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you for the interview, and a big hug to all the women and men listening.
Thank you.